What's going on, guys? It's Luke22SV here, and welcome to the start of the Honda My Team journey to try and take Honda to around where Mercedes level is. We've got our first teammate. It's going to be Nikita Mazepin. For some reason, it's a little bit annoying that you only have a certain amount of F2 drivers to choose from. So unfortunately, we couldn't get Nobuharu Matsushita, but we're going to look at getting him in perhaps the first available opportunity. So without further ado, let's head into our first qualifying session of the season with our new team. I'm pretty much just going to be doing the race. I mean, if this video gets a good response, then you can let me know what kind of how you want me to do the video. You can see if you want me to do more behind the scenes footage, or whether you just want to see the onboard action or the race action. Just leave your thoughts in the comments below. But also, just a quick one is that this may be the only video that I actually do from this career mode. If this video does not get a good response, then I'm just gonna end my YouTube thing for now. Maybe just do a few top 10s here and there, but I mean, for a lot of putting a lot of time and effort into making videos and getting a little reward out of it is quite demotivating. And I mean, as much as I do enjoy making videos, it's just I've got other things to focus on at the moment in life. And if if this does get a good response and my channel starts growing, then maybe I will start putting more focus into this. But when you're not getting much response, it's quite just demotivating, and I need to focus on other things as well. And this is our first run in this car on qualifying. We got short qualifying, 25% races, but yeah, our first lap then was a dud. We ended up losing the back end on the exit of what I think is turn 9 or turn 10, but nonetheless, we should be trying and beat Williams hopefully in the first few races. Nikita Mazepin then, who is a fairly decent driver in F2, but yeah, it's a shame that we can't get the F2 2020 drivers in, because there's a lot of good drivers in the the 2020 grid. Whether they do an upgrade and allow us to, unless you put it into the actual career, add them to the career, or unless you have to start again to have the 2020 grid. But if you have extra drivers from the F2 2020 grid added to this career, that would be quite ideal, because there's so many drivers in there that you could have, like Lundgaard, and then you got of course Schwartzman as well, and I think there's Daravilla, and then of course other drivers as well. I think there is a few other Japanese drivers as well to choose from, but right now I can't think of the other Red Bull Junior driver off the top of my head. But there is Marino Sato as well, but he doesn't look too strong in F2 at the moment. But yeah, there is a lot of good F2 drivers as well. But we're coming around then to start our first proper flying lap. We haven't made too many errors on this lap, and we're catching up to a Ferrari, which could be a good sign actually if we're catching up to Vettel. But I think he is on an outlap, but he's going a bit slow on the racing line. That didn't cost us too much time, and hopefully we can get in this lap and see whereabouts our actual pace is for the season. A little bit of a change to the livery as well from the announcement video. A little bit of black added to it, and the red's a little bit more red rather than a little bit pinkish that it looked perhaps in the announcement video, which is why I think someone said it looked like a Toyota. But now I think it looks a little bit like a Super Aguri, to be honest, a little bit more like a Super Aguri, which is in many sense what it should be looking like, to be honest, because that was pretty much a proper Japanese car. But a little disclaimer, we're up into P12, and it was at this point I realised perhaps that the difficulty was a little bit too high, put a little bit too low, so I've upped the difficulty. I think it's now on 90 for the time being, master level, and hopefully I can carry on moving it up as I get more used to this game. But we're in P17 then on our first qualifying session. Mazepin is in last, but not too far away from the two Williams, which seems to be where we are at the moment in terms of level. I'm ahead of the two Hasses as well, so maybe the Haas car is not going to be too strong around here. Of course, waiting for that first patch which will update the car performance, and of course the liveries as well. The Mercedes, I think even the McLaren and the Williams livery as well all need updating, so that's going to be kind of interesting to see. It's almost like an in-season changes to the cars and everything as well. So yeah, that should be interesting. But we head on into the first race then of this My Team career, and hopefully we can finish this race. That'll be pretty much the best thing we can do in the first race. But here is the grid order then for the first race, and with the lineup then we have Hamilton on pole from Leclerc. So yeah, pretty much as you'd expect. Maybe the Ferrari's a little bit too good compared to real life. Vettel third, Verstappen fourth, Bottas is behind Albon, which is poor for him. Lando Norris ahead of Ocon, Sainz and McLaren looking fairly strong, as do the two Alfa Romeos, Giovinazzi, Raikkonen, Perez, Fiat and then Lance Stroll. So the Racing Point's not looking where they should be. There comes Stroll, myself in P16, Grosjean, Magnussen, Russell, Latifi and Ricciardo and Mazepin. And that race suit of ours actually needs to be changed a little bit as well, going into Bahrain. But anyway, for those first 5 red lights of the season, and for this new team, Honda coming back to F1 for the first time since Brazil 2008, and we're away for Australia, and you can see we've had a fairly decent start, not the most terrible start like we've seen in F1 2019. We dive down the inside of Pierre Gasly, but he makes a little bit of contact. We get a poor exit out of turn 1 and turn 2, and we're side by side with one of the Williams. It's George Russell who gets past us there, and now we dive back down the inside of George Russell and into turn 3 with a lot of cars going side by side here. You can see Gasly and Grosjean ahead of us, and Russell on the inside of us. And there's contact there, and Russell's been spun round. It's taken us just 4 corners into the first race of the season to have a collision, and it's with probably a team we'll be fighting with for a lot of this season, especially at the start of the season. And George Russell has been spun round after making contact with us. We'll have to see who was at fault for that incident, because we were on the outside, Russell's on the inside. Whether we gave him enough room, we'll have to see. But yeah, getting onto the curb there, a little bit out of shape, but we're in P17 then, so he lost the position off the start, and we'll have to see actually where we compare to the AlphaTauris, because they're of course running the Honda engine, we're running the Honda engine, so pretty much just compare our results with them, chassis and aero wise. I think if this game is right in saying that all the engine upgrades come as a package for every team, so if Honda get an upgrade, then all the Red Bull, AlphaTauris and ourselves should get an upgrade. I think that's how it works anyway. But Hamilton then leads the way after the first lap of the race, and we're in P17. So yeah, at the moment things are looking alright. We've upped the difficulty between the qualifying and the race, so we may end up dropping backwards a little bit if things go to plan, I guess, towards the difficulty. But you can see back there it's the Renault of Ricciardo, I think it has, who has the penalty. So in his home race, he's going to be disappointed a little bit with that. And there you can see an off-board shot of the Honda, which is looking a little bit more like a Honda, I think, at least. But yeah, we dive down the inside of George Russell into turn 3. Let's see then who was at fault for this collision. We're on the outside here. I think we gave enough room. I think we actually did give enough room. He loses a bit of chunk of front wing there as well. So I think we gave enough room. We'll have to see how it looks from George Russell's on board as we go into turn 3. One thing I have noticed that the AI do tend to make more mistakes in this game, which is good to see. But Russell on the inside, I think we did give enough room. But he did sort of end up driving into us a little bit here, and yeah, he ends up making a meal of coming back to the track, and he's a long way behind now, which is unfortunate for him to start the race of the season. You can still see the Rocket livery on that car as well, which is alright to see. We'll see that for a few more races, and then maybe we'll get a patch down the line to replace that livery and the Mercedes livery as well, which are the 2 main livery changes this season. But at the moment we're actually sticking with Grosjean, despite having that poor start of the race. Well, despite having the difficulty raised, we're still sticking with Grosjean, and the Haas actually seem like they're a bottom tier car as well, like ourselves. But we're going to do our bit to try and get past him, whether we can or not. That's the question. But if we can actually get in front of the Haas's, that should actually pay dividends to where we finish at the end of the season. Like back when Caterham and HRT and Marussia were all fighting for 13th places. That's all that it could come down to if ourselves and Williams fail to score points this season, it could all come down to a 11th place or a 12th place finish. So that's what we got to look out for. Maybe that could involve the Haas team as well if they struggle. But at the moment, it looks like they're sort of sticking with the midfield. So I mean, I think Haas are probably not going to be too worried about us. Maybe just a big battle between Honda and Williams for the first season. Of course, Williams were almost going with the Honda package, I think, at one point. Of course, Alfa Romeo were as well. But yeah, we got, well, when they were Sauber, they were thinking about going for a Honda package. But at the moment, things are looking good in this race. I mean, we're not thinking about points yet. We're just trying to think about the best possible finish. And at the moment, we've got Magnussen, Latifi behind us. I think we've got a Renault behind us as well. We should be getting past us immediately. But Magnussen here has caught us up out of nowhere, really, and he gets past us there. So yeah, Magnussen coming out of nowhere and perhaps using a bit of overtake there. It was caught us off guard, really, a little bit napping. Magnussen has, but we're going to try and get back past him here. There's yellow flags behind us, though. We'll have to see what happened there. Whether there's been some sort of incident. But we got the DRS, but we're not actually close enough to the Haas of the Ferrari engine Haas. And Latifi is out of the race, so it's gone back from bad to worse for Williams. Here's the onboard of what happened to Latifi. You can see the action between myself and Magnussen just ahead. But yeah, it looks like his engine's just cut out or something. There's no smoke coming out. Mazepin running in what is pretty much last place now, where Russell's just a little bit further back. So we'll hopefully see an improvement from him in the next few races. But yeah, Latifi having just ground to a halt pretty much here, and that'll put him out of the race. Yeah, so disappointment for Latifi, his first race of this career mode as well. So we come round the last corner and the VSC has come out, and that's right before the pit entrance, and we've decided, why not, let's take advantage of this. Let's see if it can gain us an advantage. We come into the pits and we're going to put on the medium tyres and see if we can get an advantage when the pit stop window comes around. I mean, it might not gain us as much as a safety car would, but there's still a chance of us gaining positions here, although we are in a very slow car compared to the midfield at this point. But yeah, we're going to try and go. It's a 2.4 second pit stop, not completely terrible, but only, you can see just ahead of us, George Russell's only just ahead of us, so yeah, that's pretty good by the looks of it. But I mean, our tyres might be a little bit worn towards the end of the race, but the virtual safety car is now ending, so we can get back to racing speed and we can see whether we can actually have a good couple of laps now behind, well, but at the back of the race. And hopefully we can get an undercut on the Hasses that have got past us. Magnussen getting past us there, I mean, that was really caught us unaware. He really came out of nowhere, did Magnussen, but nonetheless, we're on lap 4 of this race now, and we're looking to try and make these medium tyres last at the end, which they should. I mean, once everyone else comes in, fresher tyres, and they'll probably be quicker than us, but these tyres should comfortably get to the end. But we're not going to be able to get an undercut if we drive like that, and again making a little bit of a mistake, which couldn't cost us time. So yeah, we're still getting used to this game at this point. I mean, even still, like now where I'm at, I'm still getting used to the game. But yeah, we'll just have to try, and just the more laps I do, I think the more quicker and less mistakes I end up making. But for now, you can see even with the difficulty where it is, I think I'm a bit slow compared to most of the teams around us. So maybe it's realistic, but again, almost running into the wall there. So yeah, luckily keeping it out of the wall. But if we can beat Mazepin and George Russell, I think this is going to be a success. But we move on to lap 6, and we're behind. I think it's George Russell now. So we caught up to George Russell. He's yet to stop, but he's going to cause us a few problems. You can see just ahead of us is Romain Grosjean. So we weren't able to get an undercut on Grosjean, but I think we may be able to get an undercut on Magnussen, because Magnussen just behind Grosjean when he pitted. So they're still hoping this race to gain a couple of positions. And of course, there was a Renault behind us as well, which may have got in front of us now, because the Renault is a pretty decent car compared to both the Haas and, of course, the Honda. But we're now close to George Russell now. We should be able to get past him fairly quickly, unless he's going to hold us up here. But yeah, I mean, he might want to get some revenge for that lap 1 incident and just cost us a bit of time, which he is starting to do actually. We're not making any progress, and we getting a bit out of shape there. But we're going to try and follow, and hopefully we can get close to him in the DRS zone now. and then maybe get past him here. So we've got DRS, can we get past him, or is he going to be able to keep that position for now? But he should be in the pits at the end of this lap anyway, so we should have clean air and we should be able to see where we are in relative to everyone else once they've all made their pit stops. But I think we'll just have George Russell and Mazepin behind us when everyone comes in, which isn't too terrible. I mean, it's our first race of the season after all. But yeah, there you go. George Russell comes into the pits. We come round the last corner now, up into P20. So I think we would have been ahead of Latifi as well had he still been in the race, which is a good sign, really. I mean, we're still ahead of the Williams at the moment, it looks like. But we're up into P20. I don't think my teammate's pitted yet. I mean, he's probably going a little bit longer for whatever reason, which is, you know, fair enough. Play the long game, you know, you could get a result out of doing something like that. But it looks like Magnussen's got out ahead of us as well. So maybe being stuck behind Russell has cost us a position there. So unfortunately, we can't get past the Hasses. And it looks like they're going to fly off into the distance, unfortunately. So yeah, that is how it is. But at least we're ahead of the Williams, because that should put us in a net 10th position in the Constructors after this race, after just being ahead of George Russell and Latifi as well. So if we can carry on doing that for the first few races, maybe come to races like Monaco, we may be lucky enough to get points there. We'll have to wait and see if we, you know, anything can happen around tracks like that, of course. And rain-affected races, we may get lucky or be clever with the strategy and manage to jump a few cars or here and there. And that's pretty much what you have to try and think about when you're in a backmarker team, which is what we are at the moment, until we can add some upgrades to this car and improve, which is what we're trying to aim to do, of course, fairly soon. But our teammate's now in the pits, so we should go up to P19, and that would not be too bad a way to start off this race. I mean, we lost a couple of positions from the start, but we were on a bit of a lower difficulty. I think we were on 85 in qualifying, and now we're on 90, which is more or less where we are for the time being. But I'm sure as things go on, I mean, hopefully I can get it up to ultimate again eventually, which is what we were on F1 2018, and sort of didn't hope too well with F1 2019 for whatever reason. But anyway, we are in P19 now, and it looks like it's going to be a fairly boring end to the race. I mean, we don't have anyone around us, but we've gone off the grass here and we've gone into the wall, and that's the end of the race. Oh dear. I mean, it was going to be a boring end of the race, but we ended up perhaps falling asleep behind the wheel here. Here's a replay of what happened. We just come around turn 4, and then towards turn 5 again, we just ran a little bit wide. Yeah, perhaps turning in too late, and we just got onto the curb, got onto the grass, into the wall, and out of the race. Disappointing way to end the first race of the season. But that might have actually allowed Williams to retake the position. Well, I think actually Mazepin should be ahead of Russell. So Mazepin getting the best result, and you can see that race suit needs to be edited. It doesn't really match our team colours. For some reason I didn't know where to edit the race suit, but there you go. Mercedes win the opening race, which is where we'll be one day, I hope. I wonder how it will look for who will be the team principal on the pit wall when Honda win a race. I mean, because we're the driver and the team principal. But yeah, we'll have to cross that bridge when it comes to it, I guess, hopefully. But yeah, there you go. Hamilton winning the first race of the season. Mercedes 1-2, so Bottas recovered from 6th in the end to get 2nd, Vettel 3rd. I think he started behind Leclerc as well, so a good result for him, I guess. If Mercedes are the strongest, Verstappen having a bad day, down in 9th. But yeah, Honda's all in caps as well, because it doesn't allow the word Honda, so they put a 0 instead of an O, and yeah, it did look out of place. Yeah, without the if it wasn't all in caps, because it's just a 0 and then all lower caps. So it's all in upper caps, which isn't too bad. It doesn't make too much difference really. But there you go. That's the first episode of this career, maybe the last as well, depending on how it goes. But we're in 10th in the Constructors, so not the bad way to start off the season. But there you go. I hope you enjoyed this video. Like and subscribe, and maybe we'll see you again. But for now, yeah, we'll see.